Hello dear students, now we are starting with the lecture 2 of respiration in plant chapter. In this chapter, first topic we are going to discuss, that is a fate of pyruvic acid, because in last lecture we have dealt with the glycolysis part, and in glycolysis you know that there is a formation of two molecules of pyruvic acid from the glucose. Now after formation of two molecules of pyruvic acid, what will happen to this pyruvic acid, which is a key product of glycolysis? Now this fate of pyruvic acid, it is depend on cellular need. Means whatever the need of the cell is there, according to this particular will occur. Now the fate of pyruvic acid is decided based on presence or absence of O2, and we know that if presence of O2 is there, then acetyl coenzyme A will occur and aerobic respiration will take place, whereas in absence of O2 fermentation will occur, that we have discussed. First we are talking about aerobic respiration, so we first will talk about how pyruvic acid will convert into acetyl coenzyme A, and this phenomena is known as link reaction. So first we discuss link reaction, and from acetyl coenzyme A we will be discussing electron transport system. Acetyl coenzyme A, we will be discussing Krebs cycle, and then after Krebs cycle we will be discussing electron transport system and oxidative phosphorylation. So first we talk about link reaction, then we will talk about Krebs cycle, and then we will talk about electron transport system. So next is link reaction. Now when we talk about a link reaction occur in mitochondrial matrix, and in this, first what happens, pyruvic acid is there, which is a 3-carbon compound. First from this a decarboxylation will occur, a CO2 will get released. So this 3-carbon intermediate will convert into the 2-carbon intermediate, that is a acetate moiety. After that, coenzyme A molecule get added here, and with addition of coenzyme A, dehydrogenation occurs, and the H+ which are released, that are accepted by NADH2, and then this acetate will react with coenzyme A, and acetyl coenzyme A will form. Now when this acetyl coenzyme A forms from the pyruvic acid, by this process the decarboxylation and dehydrogenation is taking place. So this is the link reaction. Now this link reaction is an enzymatic process, so it is carried out by PDH complex, that is pyruvate dehydrogenase complex. Okay. Now this conversion in this pyruvate dehydrogenase complex reaction, decarboxylation and dehydrogenation is occurring. Pyruvic acid is getting converted into the acetyl coenzyme A, which is a 2-carbon compound. But be remember, from this occur in one link reaction, but from glycolysis we obtain 2 pyruvic acid. So when 2 pyruvic acid undergo this part, then 2 acetyl coenzyme A molecule will be found, but from 1 pyruvic acid 1 acetyl coenzyme A is obtained. Okay. Now in this particular process occur in mitochondrial matrix. So now this pyruvate dehydrogenase complex is made up of So this pyruvate dehydrogenase complex is made up of 5 cofactors, namely Mg2 plus, then thymine pyrophosphate, then NAD, that is nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate, coenzyme A, and lipoic acid. So this many cofactors are involved in this reaction of pyruvate dehydrogenase complex, and is a very large enzymatic complex, and here 3 enzymes are involved. In 3 enzymes you can consider it as a decarboxylase, a dehydrogenase, and pyruvate dehydrogenase complex. Okay, so this ultimately combinedly form a pyruvate dehydrogenase complex, and this carry out conversion of pyruvic acid into the 2 carbon compound, that is acetyl coenzyme A. When we talk about this link reaction is also known as gateway reaction or transition reaction. Okay, so these are the different names given to this. Why it is known as link reaction? Because it is linking the glycolysis with the Krebs cycle. Now here in one link reaction, if we talk about, or in one pyruvic acid, one NADH2 is forming and one CO2 is released. But if the question is like that how many CO2 and how many NADH2 released or synthesized in link reaction from one glucose. So you have to remember that from one glucose 2 pyruvic acid will be obtained. So 2 link reaction will occur, 2 acetyl coenzyme A is obtained, and 2 CO2 and 2 NADH2 will be obtained. So this is the thing which occur in during this part. Now the NADH2 which is formed, that undergo ETS, and through ETS it will give rise to the 3 ATP. So NADH2 is equal to 3 ATP. Okay, that we will consider in calculation as well. Now after this we talk about a next linked glycolysis linked to the Krebs cycle through this link reaction. So next we talk about the Krebs cycle or tricarboxylic acid cycle. So next pathway is or process is TCA cycle, that is tricarboxylic acid cycle. This tricarboxylic acid cycle, also known as Krebs cycle or citric acid cycle. Why it is known as citric acid cycle? Because the first stable product of this is citric acid, so it is known as citric acid cycle. Now the reaction of this cycle, were worked out by Sir Hans Krebs in flight muscle of pigeons. So it was discovered by Hans Krebs in the flight muscle of pigeons. Now it is known as, so because of the Hans Krebs, it is known as the Krebs cycle. Citric acid cycle because the first stable product is of citric acid, and the TCA cycle because many intermediate compounds found in the cycle have a 3 carboxylic group, and due to presence of 3 carboxylic group in several intermediate, it is known as tricarboxylic acid cycle. Now the reaction of Krebs cycle occur in mitochondrial matrix. This reaction occur in mitochondrial matrix. This pathway occur in mitochondrial matrix. So the question is how this pathway occur, that we are going to discuss now, that how this pathway is carried out. Now we start with the Krebs cycle, and we will study how this Krebs cycle is carried out in a mitochondrial matrix. So now Krebs cycle start with the acetyl coenzyme A, which is obtained from the link reaction. Okay, so you know that acetyl coenzyme A is a 2-carbon product of a link reaction. Now this acetyl coenzyme A first react with oxaloacetic acid. It react with oxaloacetic acid. This oxaloacetic acid is a 4-carbon respiratory intermediate. Now this is a 4-carbon, this is a 2-carbon. When it react first, then the reaction occur in presence of enzyme that is a citrate synthetase. This occur in presence of citrate synthetase. Now citrate synthetase enzyme carry out a joining of this two or reaction of this two intermediate by the use of water. And it will form a first product, that is citric acid. Now citric acid is of a 6-carbon intermediate. It is a 6-carbon intermediate. Now this citric acid again convert into cis-aconitic acid. It convert into cis-aconitic acid, that is also 6-carbon intermediate, by the release of water. And with the release of water, the enzyme aconitase will work here, and aconitase will use iron as a cofactor and carry out this conversion of citric acid into the cis-aconitic acid. Later on, this cis-aconitic acid again by addition of water in presence of aconitase enzyme and iron which is acting as a cofactor, this convert into the isocitric acid. Now isocitric acid is a 6-carbon isomer of this citric acid. Citric acid and isocitric acid are the 6-carbon compound, and both are the isomer of each other. So citric acid by loss of water and again by the gaining of water, it ultimately convert into the isocitric acid, that is the isomer of citric acid. Now next here enzyme which work, that is isocitrate dehydrogenase. Here enzyme based on the substrate will work, that is isocitrate dehydrogenase. So when isocitrate dehydrogenase enzyme will work, it will release H+. That H+ are accepted by NAD+. And convert into NADH2. Okay, so NADH2 will be obtained, and by this isocitrate acid converted into the oxalosuccinic acid. It convert into oxalosuccinic acid, which is also 6-carbon intermediate. Now this oxalosuccinic acid 6-carbon intermediate formed. After that, what happens? Oxalosuccinate decarboxylase enzyme will work. Oxalosuccinate decarboxylase enzyme will work. So the CO2 get removed from this particular oxalosuccinic acid 6-carbon intermediate. Now from 6-carbon, if CO2 is removed, means 1 carbon is removed, and if 1 carbon get removed, then it convert into the alpha ketoglutaric acid. It convert into the alpha ketoglutaric acid. And alpha ketoglutaric acid is made up of 5-carbon compound. It is the only 5-carbon respiratory intermediate of Krebs cycle. Now after this alpha ketoglutaric acid formation, which is a 5-carbon intermediate, then this alpha ketoglutaric acid again release this. It removed 1 CO2. Now it will release again 1 more CO2 and convert it into 4-carbon compound, that is a succinyl coenzyme A. So if it convert into 4-carbon compound, that is succinyl coenzyme A, then obviously coenzyme A addition has occurred. So here coenzyme A addition we are showing. With that, this alpha ketoglutaric acid to succinyl coenzyme A conversion is carried out by alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase complex. So this complex is similar to the link reaction, so it has also TPP, magnesium, lipoic acid, NAD and coenzyme as a cofactor, and by this is particularly convert here. Now when complex is involved in complex, dehydrogenation and decarboxylation both occur. So decarboxylation we are seeing here, dehydrogenation has also occurred, and in dehydrogenation this NAD plus will receive the H plus and will convert into NADH2. It will convert into the NADH2 and succinyl coenzyme A will be obtained. Now this succinyl coenzyme A will convert into succinic acid, by the use of enzyme succinate thiokinase. Now what succinase thiokinase will do? It will remove the coenzyme A from the succinyl coenzyme A, and with that it will add one water molecule, and apart from that there will be a GTP formation. From GTP will be obtained, but when GTP will break, the ADP will receive phosphate and ATP will be obtained. So either first GTP forms then ATP forms, so either GTP or ATP formation occur, we can consider like this, and succinyl acid is produced. Now succinic acid is acted by a succinate dehydrogenase enzyme, and when succinated dehydrogenase enzyme will work, this dehydrogenation will occur, and this removed H plus are received by FAD and convert into the FADH2. And due to this succinate dehydrogenase enzyme, fumaric acid will form. This fumaric acid is also a 4-carbon intermediate. After fumaric acid, fumarase enzyme will work, and with fumarase enzyme, here addition of one more water molecule will take place, and by addition of one more water molecule taking place, malic acid will be formed. This malic acid will be again acted by a malate dehydrogenase enzyme, and this malate dehydrogenase will remove the H plus from the malic acid. These are again accepted by NAD plus and will be converted into the NADH2. Okay, and this way ultimately oxaloacetic acid will be regenerated. So this is the way how whole Krebs cycle get performed. Okay, so I hope you understood this, that initially what happens, acetyl coenzyme A react with oxaloacetic acid, form a citric acid by addition of water in the presence of citric synthetase enzyme. Then citric acid converted into isocitric acid by the formation of intermediate, that is cis-aconitic acid. Here aconitase enzyme will occur in both this step. First water will be removed, then addition will occur, then isocitrate dehydrogenase will occur, so NADH2 formation, then oxalosuccinic acid decarboxylase will work, CO2 release, then alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase complex will work, where CO2 decarboxylation and dehydrogenation both will occur. Then particularly succinyl coenzyme will be formed, then succinate thiokinase will occur, where ATP or GTP formation will take place. Then succinic acid will be formed, succinic acid undergoes succinate dehydrogenase enzyme, and FADH2 will be formed. Now 1 FADH2 is equal to 2 ATP, it is a concentration. Then fumaric acid, water addition, malic acid formation and malate dehydrogenase. Now all the NADH2, FADH2 will undergo ETS. They will go under ETS. And by entering ETS, they will be broken up and they will give ATP, where NADH2 will give 3 ATP and FADH2 will give 2 ATP, and whole Krebs cycle work like this. Okay, so now we are putting some of the important points in this reaction, we are noting it down, and after noting this important points of this cycle pathway, we will be calculating the ATP which is obtained from the whole pathway of Krebs cycle. Okay, So now we first note down some of the important point of this pathway. So as we know that Krebs cycle occur in mitochondrial matrix, it means all enzymes of Krebs cycle, all enzymes of Krebs cycle are soluble in mitochondrial matrix except one, and that is succinate dehydrogenase enzyme. This succinate dehydrogenase enzyme is found attached to inner mitochondrial membrane in spite being an enzyme of Krebs cycle, so it is associated with the inner mitochondrial membrane. Now when we see whole Krebs cycle, then we see that two Krebs cycle occur from one glucose molecule. Okay. Next, we see that in one Krebs cycle one molecule of ATP or GTP, that is GTP will give rise to ATP, formed directly or by substrate level phosphorylation. But apart from one GTP or GTP, 3 molecules of NADH2 are obtained. This 3 NADH2 is equal to 9 ATP, and 1 FADH2 obtained. That 1 FADH2 is equal to 2 ATP. So here you can see 1 ATP directly origin ATP, substrate level phosphorylation, 3 NADH2 is equal to 9 ATP, and 1 FADH2 is equal to 2 ATP. So there total 11 ATP are obtained through oxidative phosphorylation. Through oxidative phosphorylation, 11 ATP are obtained. Through substrate level phosphorylation, 1 ATP is obtained. So total 11 ATP plus 1 ATP through substrate level phosphorylation. So total 12 ATP are obtained from one Krebs cycle. So one Krebs cycle gives rise to the 12 ATP molecules. Means if one Krebs cycle gives 12 ATP total, so from one glucose 2 Krebs cycle will occur. So ATP become 12 into 2, that is 24 ATP from one glucose through Krebs cycle. So now we compare in Krebs cycle what is used and what are produced. So if we compare these, then we come to know that here 1 acetyl coenzyme A is used and produced is one coenzyme A, acetyl get used. Okay, then one oxaloacetic acid used in first reaction, and obvious one oxaloacetic acid recovered back, that is C4H4O5, a 4 carbon intermediate. Then 3 NAD will receive the H+, so 3 NADH2 are formed. 1 FAD plus received the H+, so 1 FADH2 has formed. 4 water molecule are used and 1 ATP, 4 water molecule are used and 5 water molecule are produced. 1 direct plus 4 metabolic water, we will calculate that also, and 1 ADP plus 1 inorganic phosphate give rise to 1 ATP. Apart from this, 2 CO2 released in this particular step. So this is the comparative analysis of whole Krebs cycle. Now, so ultimately after studying this, we ultimately conclude that total 4 dehydrogenation step and 1 and 2 decarboxylation step occur in Krebs cycle. Okay, that is in a 1 Krebs cycle. So if we consider 2 Krebs cycle, then it become a 8 dehydrogenation step and 2 decarboxylation step. Okay, so I hope, dear students, you are getting this point, how the particularly calculation occur. Now after this Krebs cycle, next we are moving to the another topic, that is electron transport system. Hello students, now we start with a next topic after Krebs cycle, that is electron transport system, that is ETS, or electron transport chain, that is ETC. Okay, so we are going to talk about electron transport system or electron transport chain. Now it is located on inner mitochondrial membrane, and we know that in this electron transport system several electron carriers are there, and that electron carrier will help in the transfer of energy. Now first we understand what is the role of this, what this electron transport system is made for. So actually in glycolysis and Krebs cycle, we have considered NADH2 is equal to 3 ATP. NADH2 is equal to 3 ATP and FADH2 is equal to 2 ATP. So we have considered and we have remembered it as a fact base. But why NADH2 is equal to 3 ATP and why FADH2 is equal to 2 ATP? The answer to this question is ETS. Means ETS will explain us that how NADH2 is equal to 3 ATP are formed and how FADH2 is equal to 2 ATP are formed. And it occurs on the inner mitochondrial membrane. Now if we draw a structure of mitochondria, we know that mitochondria have inner mitochondrial membrane like this, and they have a crista. So if I take this segment and if I elaborate it and I make a big diagram of this statement, then we will know that what particularly things are located here to carry out electron transport system on inner mitochondrial membrane, because this is outer mitochondrial membrane, this is inner mitochondrial membrane, this is mitochondrial matrix, and these are the cristae. So we are going to talk about this part only. So if we draw this part, then we can understand this in a proper way. So first we draw the outer mitochondrial membrane. So when we draw outer mitochondrial membrane, I am taking the two pages so you can understand in a better way. And this is the outer mitochondrial which is running here. So it is a somewhat elaborated pathway. So this is outer mitochondrial membrane. Then outer mitochondrial membrane, and when we will find a perimitochondrial space. So suppose this is the perimitochondrial space. So this is outer mitochondrial membrane. This is perimitochondrial space. But perimitochondrial space is a space between outer mitochondrial membrane and inner mitochondrial membrane. So if we draw this inner mitochondrial membrane here, this inner mitochondrial membrane will show a cristae in this region. Now when it forms, then this inner mitochondria will fold here also like this. So this is nothing but a what? Cristae, or a folding of inner mitochondrial membrane. So like this we have this long inner mitochondrial membrane. Now we will discuss first how the breakdown of NADH2 occur, and inner to this inner mitochondrial membrane you will find here mitochondrial matrix. Now we know that in mitochondrial matrix Krebs cycle occur and 3 NADH2 and 1 FADH2 is formed in one Krebs cycle. Now we are not dealing with the FADH2 breakdown. First we are dealing with the NADH2 breakdown, and we are taking one of the NADH2 here. Now we have one NADH2. First what will happen, this NADH2 will break into NAD plus 2H plus and 2 electron. So you know that when NAD react with 2H plus and 2 electron, then it will form NADH2. So if NADH2 will break, then it will produce NAD plus 2H plus and 2 electron. Now this 2H plus and 2 electron are received by FMN, that is flavin mononucleotide. Now flavin mononucleotide is an electron as well as hydrogen carrier, so it will receive both and it convert into FMNH2 and get reduced. Now when FMNH2 will break again, it will form FMN again. 2H plus will be released to the perimitochondrial space, which was actually donated by the NADH2. Then FMN will be recovered back. 2H plus are going outside to the perimitochondrial space. Now 2 electron is remaining. This electron passes to the iron sulfur protein. From iron sulfur protein, this 2 electron passes to the ubiquinone. This will give to the ubiquinone. Now when ubiquinone has received this 2 electron, is at an extra 2 electron, to stabilize it, it will accept 2H plus from the mitochondrial matrix. So ubiquinone has 2 electron, it receives 2H plus from the mitochondrial matrix, means it's become UQH2. It become what? UQH2. And when UQH2 will break, again we will get a UQ. 2H plus will be given out in the perimitochondrial space and 2 electron will be transferred further to the cytochrome B. Okay. Then from cytochrome B, this 2 electron will again pass on to the iron sulfur protein. From iron sulfur protein, this 2 electron will reach to again ubiquinone. This ubiquinone has a 2 electron extra. Now it will accept a 2H plus from the matrix and it convert into the UQH2, that is a reduced ubiquinone. Now this reduced ubiquinone will again break and will give 2H plus to the perimitochondrial space. Ubiquinone will be recovered back and it will give 2 electron to the cytochrome C1. From cytochrome C1, this 2 electron will pass on to the cytochrome C, which is present on the outer face of inner mitochondrial membrane. So remember, this is the inner mitochondrial membrane, and it is outer face of inner mitochondrial membrane where cytochrome C it attached. So it receives 2 electron from the cytochrome C1. Then cytochrome C gives its 2 electron to cytochrome A, then 2 electron to the cytochrome A3. When cytochrome A3 receives 2 electron, it receives half O2 and 2H plus from the mitochondrial matrix and combine, and it will form a water. Okay, so this way whole electron transport will work. So we remember what is happening. Again I am explaining this whole thing so you will get to know in a proper way. Krebs cycle occur in this mitochondrial matrix. Here is inner mitochondrial membrane, this one, then perimitochondrial space, this is the space, and the outer mitochondrial membrane is here. Now mitochondrial matrix Krebs cycle will occur, NADH2, FADH2 are produced. NADH2 will break into NAD plus, 2H plus, 2 electron. 2H plus are received and 2 electron are received by FMN, so it convert into the reduced FMN. This FMNH2 will break, FMN will be recovered back, 2H plus goes to the perimitochondrial space and 2 electron to the iron sulfur protein. This iron sulfur protein transfer its 2 electron to ubiquinone, so ubiquinone have 2 extra electron, it will receive 2H plus from the matrix, convert into UQH2, that is reduced ubiquinone. Then breakdown will occur, then ubiquinone will be recovered back, 2H plus again to the mitochondrial matrix and 2 electron to the cytochrome B. Then cytochrome B gives 2 electron to iron sulfur protein, then to ubiquinone, so ubiquinone have 2 extra electron, it will accept 2H plus from mitochondrial matrix and then it convert into the UQH2. When UQH2 break, again you will get a ubiquinone, 2H plus to the perimitochondrial space, 2 electrons to cytochrome C1, then 2 electron to cytochrome C, then cytochrome A, then cytochrome A3. Cytochrome A3 when receives 2 electron, it accepts half O2 from the mitochondrial matrix, 2H plus from the mitochondrial matrix, and form by the reaction of this, the ultimately H2 will be formed. Okay, so when one NADH2 breakdown occur, the electron passes through this and ultimately reaches to the O2. So terminal electron acceptor is O2. But when one NADH2 breakdown occur, half O2 will be used and one water will be produced. But during this whole electron transfer to the oxygen, 3 pairs of proton are passes to perimitochondrial space. 3 particular, this passes to the perimitochondrial space. Now this all are the electron carriers, and these electron carriers are divided into some complexes. So if we divide them into complexes, this one is the complex 1. This is the complex 1 where NADH2 breakdown occurs. So it is known as NADH2 dehydrogenase complex. Then when we talk about a cytochrome B C1, then this is the complex 3. This is complex 3, and this cytochrome AA3 is complex 4. So might be you are telling that where is complex 2? Here it is complex 1, it is complex 3, and here it is complex 4. Then where is complex 2? So actually complex 2 is not used in breakdown of NADH2. Actually complex 2 lies here, but it receives electron and H plus by the breakdown of FADH2. So in NADH2 breakdown, complex 1, complex 3, complex 4 are involved in ATS, but when FADH2 will break, here complex 2, complex 3 and complex 4 will work, complex 1 will not work for the FADH2 breakdown. So I hope you are getting this. Now by the use of these 3 complexes, complex 1, complex 3 and complex 4, electron had transformed from NADH2 to O2 and water is formed and 3 pairs of proton reached to the perimitochondrial space. But now when we talk here, we have this cristae, and we know that in cristae we have F0 F1 complex. This cristae have a F0 F1 complex, which is also known as oxygen. So when one pair proton. So what happens? Concentration of H plus is higher in perimitochondrial space, lower in the mitochondrial matrix. So gradient has formed, this breakdown occur, and this H plus will pass from F0, and the energy which is released, that is used by F1 to associate ADP and inorganic phosphate, and ATP will form. So when one pair of proton come back to the mitochondrial matrix through F0, then one ATP will form. When again second will come, then second ATP will form. When third will come, third pair of proton will come back to mitochondrial matrix, third ATP will be formed. So by one pair of proton coming, one ATP, by second pair, second ATP, by third pair, that is a 3 ATP. So during the breakdown of one NADH2, 3 ATP obtained in a such a way. Okay, so I hope you got this. What is the function of F0, F1 on the crystal? That is ATP synthesis by the use of energy from the breakdown of proton gradient. Now, this process where a phosphorylation of ADP is occurring, the energy for this is provided by this oxidation process, that is ETS. So because of this, this phenomena which is occurring here, it is known as oxidative phosphorylation. Because of this, in glycolysis and Krebs cycle, in calculation of ATP through oxidative phosphorylation, we have calculated the ATP obtained from the NADH2 and FADH2. Okay, so this is ETS and oxidative phosphorylation by the breakdown of NADH2. So I am keeping this diagram for a few moments. You can look in a proper way and label it, mark it, and write it properly. So after this ETS and oxidative phosphorylation where NADH2 breakdown occur, now how FADH2 breakdown occur, that we should also understand. So now we talk about ETS, and in ETS breakdown of FADH2. Till now we have discussed the breakdown of NADH2. Now when breakdown of FADH2 occur through the ETS in an electron transport chain in the inner mitochondrial membrane. Here you can see this is outer mitochondrial membrane, this is a perimitochondrial space, this is inner mitochondrial membrane, this is a mitochondrial matrix. In mitochondrial matrix, Krebs cycle will occur and FADH2 will be produced. Now what happens to this FADH2? So this FADH2 break into FAD plus, and the H plus and electron which are received from this FADH2 are accepted by the ubiquinone. So ubiquinone will form a UQH2. Okay, when UQH2 will break, that is a reduced ubiquinone will break, it will obtain ubiquinone again. It pushes 2H plus to the perimitochondrial space and passes its 2 electron to cytochrome B, then passes 2 electron to the iron sulfur protein, and then to the ubiquinone. Now again ubiquinone receives 2 electron extra, so it accepts 2H plus from the matrix and convert into UQH2. Now this UQH2 will break, again ubiquinone will be obtained, 2H plus are pushed to the perimitochondrial space, 2 electron are passed to cytochrome C1. From cytochrome C1, 2 electron passes to the cytochrome C present on the outer face of inner mitochondrial membrane. Then it gives 2 electron to cytochrome A, then 2 electron to cytochrome A3. Cytochrome A3 will take half O2 and 2H plus from the mitochondrial matrix, and it will form a ATP. It will form a water. So in this, water formation occur by use of half O2 and 2H plus by the cytochrome A3, which is by receiving an electron from the FADH2 breakdown. So during the breakdown of FADH2 and transfer of electron to this oxygen, two pairs of proton has moved out to the perimitochondrial space. So if 2 pair of proton moves to this perimitochondrial space, when one pair comes back through this F0 F1 complex, the ADP will react with phosphate and ATP will be formed. So same way again another pair will come back, then another ATP will be obtained. So 2 ATP will be obtained during the breakdown of one FADH2 like this. Because of this we call FADH2 is equal to 2 ATP. Okay. Now in this complex is known as complex 2. BC1 is known as complex 3 as we have seen in case of NADH2 breakdown, and this is a complex 4. This is known as complex 5 which carry out oxidative phosphorylation, that is F0F1 complex. So in the breakdown of FADH2, second, third and fourth complex are involved during the electron transport, whereas one is not involved. But when we talk about the NADH2 breakdown, 3 ATP will be obtained, but first complex will be used, not second. So I hope you have understood this. I am keeping this diagram for the certain moment. Please note down if you need it. So till now we have completed electron transport system and oxidative phosphorylation. So we'll be noting some of the point important with respect to and need for the exam. It is actually oxidative phosphorylation. Okay. So now in ETS you know that it is important to gain energy from NADH2 and FADH2. Without this nothing will happen. Okay. Now when we study ETS we come to know that for breakdown of NADH2 and gain 3 ATP, complex first, third and fourth are involved in ETS, whereas for breakdown of FADH2 and gain 2 ATP, complex second, third and fourth are involved in ETS. Complex 5 carry out oxidative phosphorylation during breakdown of both NADH2 and FADH2. Okay, so complex 5 is involved in ATP synthesis mainly. So first, these are the complexes where they are involved. Now we should understand what are the name of these complexes. Complex 1 is known as NADH2 dehydrogenase complex, with which breakdown of NADH2 is associated. Complex 2 is known as succinate dehydrogenase complex, succinate dehydrogenase complex, with which FADH2 breakdown is associated. Complex 3 is known as cytochrome BC1 complex, cytochrome BC1 complex, this is also known as cytochrome C reductase because it will involve in a reduction of cytochrome C. Next, complex 4 is known as cytochrome AA3 complex, and this cytochrome AA3 complex is also known as cytochrome C oxidase. And last, complex 5 is known as ATP synthase or F0F1 complex present on cristae which carry out ATP synthesis. Okay, so these are the different name of the different complexes. So these are the all 5 complexes and their names. Now in this there are several electron carrier in ETS, and we have used a short form to write them. So now I am writing here full form of all the electron carriers. First, if we talk the full form of NAD. NAD means nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide, and if we write NADH2 means it is a reduced nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. Same way, FAD plus is flavin adenine dinucleotide, and FADH2 is reduced FAD. Okay, now when we talk about this particular electron carrier, here we see one FES, that is a iron sulfur protein. Then we see UQ. UQ is also known as coenzyme Q. So it is a ubiquinone and can be called as coenzyme Q. Then if we write UQH2, then it is known as reduced ubiquinone, and this is also known as ubiquinol. This is the important point, that UQH2 is known as ubiquinol. If we write it is a coenzyme QH2, then it is nothing but coenzyme QH2. Sorry, reduced coenzyme QH2. Reduced coenzyme Q, we can write like this. Okay. Then after this, we have dealt with some of the cytochrome B, cytochrome C1, then cytochrome C, then cytochrome A, and then cytochrome A3. So these are the different names given to different cytochromes, out of which cytochrome C is located on outer face of inner mitochondrial membrane, and this cytochrome C link complex 3 and complex 4. One of the important point is that ubiquinone and cytochrome C are mobile electron carrier. They are mobile electron carrier. So this is one of the important question they usually ask. One more important question is that terminal electron acceptor of ETS. So terminal electron acceptor of ETS is nothing but oxygen, and due to terminal electron is oxygen, so water formation was observed. Okay, so this is the different points which are associated with all the complexes and all the particularly ETS and FADH2 and NADH2 breakdown. So ETS is now completely known and completely studied part in this topic. We have dealt with the complex 5 as well, that is known as what? Oxidative phosphorylation. So I hope now you are clear with substrate level phosphorylation means it is a direct ATP synthesis without ETS. Whatever the ATP we obtain directly, we calculate in substrate level phosphorylation. But when we talk about oxidative phosphorylation, in this we calculate ATP obtained from NADH2 and FADH2 through ETS. So we will be dealing with some of the questions like this in the next lecture. So till now in this part we have completed Krebs cycle and electron transport system. In next class we will be discussing respiratory balanced, embryonic pathways, shuttle systems and respiratory quotient. Thank you.